act like women all act the same when like they don't necessarily. And so I would love to know, like, what do you like about women?
Just a second. Audience, I want you to fix your eyes on the screen over here. Everyone is special. No one can be generalized. All women act the same. Do you think women act more similar or different?
I mean, I think just overly, I don't like people
I don't
from
care
all
what you,
over the
man, you
world
keep saying like.
circumstances.
Ma'am, hold on, I want to, let's do this. Let's do this. Are you an educated woman?
Yeah.
Okay. Are generalizations valid?
To a point, but we need to be specific of like, I assume
Okay,
you're talking about women.
you have a Bluetooth? You have a Bluetooth or something? Are you on Bluetooth or something?
No, it's making a weird feedback here. I can move you. Does that sound better?
Well, yeah, there was a slight delay. Are generalizations valid? You said what?
I think I referenced that
Are
we're making
generalizations valid?
generalizations being specific to the area you're making the generalization. So if we're talking about women in
It's hot
like
in
urban,
Arizona. It's hot in Arizona. Is it always hot in Arizona?
for the most part, yes.
But it's not always. But is the generalization valid?
Yes, for sure.
Okay. All right. So what I talk about is broad generalizations that are broadly true for most women. Why do we need to go into the tangential or the nuance?
I think for me, I've been waiting to see someone that has a similar train of thought or belief system as me on your show, or you talking about someone like me, if that makes specific, or I'm being broad. So for example, a lot of times you have women on your show who are 30s and above with kids, like in and out of relationships. That's not me. And so when I'm going into the show, I'm like, is he going to talk about someone like me? And so that's
what does that mean? What's someone like you?
Ooh, I'm waiting to have sex till marriage. So when dating, me dating looks very different than someone who believes.
Ma'am, I've had at least 7 shows on that very topic.
Okay. And I did say I was new, so I definitely missed it, and that's on me.
Yeah. Matter of fact, there's 3 or 4 videos up from this year.
Okay.
Is this a religious belief?
Yeah, for the most part. It's like a promise I made to God. So yeah.
Are you a Christian?
Yes.
What I'm doing is I'm asking at 25, you're waiting till marriage to have sex, right?
Yes.
Okay. And what I'm trying to understand is where that belief comes from, number one, and how strongly it's attached.
Very strong.
All right. So, do you attend church regularly?
I just moved to DC about a year ago during COVID, and so it's been pretty hard to find churches. But I've worked in ministry for a while, and I'm still very part of my church back home in Seattle, just online, so not a physical church.
So the answer is no.
But because of COVID, they only have online churches.
And we've been, okay, no. You could have been out, no.
I mean, I go to church.
Okay.
I'm not a part of it.
So the direct answer is no. I don't go to the physical church body. I
should have corrected myself. I do go to the physical church body. Yes. I'm just not a member of church.
Okay. So
where I am.
This is a belief that you hold strongly, but you're not in the body.
I am. I'm just not a member of a church.
You have a
In
church
a
home you
physical
visit. You have a church home you go to weekly. What's going on with your camera? Because you're coming in. Do you have a church home that you go to weekly?
Yes.
Is there an active singles ministry?
I just started going to it around Easter, so I'm not sure. I don't think so. But I could definitely check it out. It's a very
Stop,
small
stop, stop,
church.
stop, 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 stop. They were already getting to the problems. You don't go to a church regularly. The church you go to doesn't have an active singles ministry, so I'm sure they don't have a ministry that's actively promoting marriage with you. The church you, why did you pick the church you attend? Oh God. Can you get close to the window or something? Because your Wi-Fi is doing something. I don't know what's going on.
Here,
You got people calling you or something?
Yeah, let me just turn my phone off. So I was going to one church in a different part of the DMV, and I noticed some of the things the pastor believed.
How are you supposed to find a husband? How are you supposed to find a husband? How are you supposed to find a husband?
I'm a member of a Black professionals networking group, and so
That's
I'm
not
there.
Christian. It's not Christian.
Or it's they
How are you
have
supposed to find?
different.
How are you supposed to find? How are you supposed to see? It comes down to.
May you let me finish, please?
No, nope. Because you go on and draw on, and
I was trying to tell you.
No,
that
no,
there's
no. That's
Christian
not how that's
groups
going. That's not how that's going to work. That's not how that's going to work. And that's not how it's going to work because I've given you plenty of latitude. You don't answer directly. The bottom line is you can have your belief. But I'm asking the fundamental blocking and tackling. How are you supposed to find Mr. Right? How are you supposed to find you? And if you're in the modern, if you're in the dating environment with non-Christian people, being able to hold your chastity until marriage in a worldly dating environment, not likely.
Sort of what I was going to say is in these Black professional groups, they have different singles ministries for Christian, and I'm in those.
But again, who's leading you in who's leading you or guiding you in your quest to be found by your husband?
My pastor back home in Seattle.
Your pastor back home in Seattle, but you're not in Seattle.
Correct. And I do
so
have
my point is, I talk to women like you. When I talk about Christian feminism and all, I've talked to women like this. And if you guys will recall, the 42-year-old woman that lived in Seattle, the virgin, she was retaining herself. At the end of the day, you can have your belief, but unless you're dating from a pool of men who share your same belief, the likelihood of running into a man is going to wait until marriage. How long do you think after meeting a man before you would accept his proposal for marriage?
I think 1 to 2 years. Like that.
So a man is supposed to meet you and date you, and 1 to 2 years later propose to you. Right?
I've been in relationships for 1 to 2 years, yeah.
1 to 2 years, right, but you were also young.
True.
So that man is going to be without sex. Yeah.
I mean, everyone I've dated hasn't had sex with me, and those relationships have been about 1 to 2 years. Do you think it's not realistic for, say, the modern woman?
I don't think it's realistic for a woman who's not in a church. It's realistic if you are a woman who's really following her religious convictions. That means you're in a church that one of the main motivations is to foster marriage. They have a singles ministry, male and female, where they actively help couples because you can have your belief. I was raised in the church. I've been over singles ministries, and I'm going to tell you, women like you exist everywhere, but you're still trying to date in the worldly market. And that's easier to do when you're younger. have somebody wait 1-2 years. But if you're 25, dear heart, ain't no man in the dating market going to wait 1 to 2 years unless he shares your belief system.
I have a question for you in that
Do
case.
do you believe that?
That makes sense to me. Absolutely. So the church I was a part of for like the last year before I switched to this new church, they had a really good ministry program. However, some of their doctrine was off. You said you came from a faith background. Do you think it's worth it going to church just to be part of the
Well, I think if you're
singles
going to
young
use
adult
that as
ministry?
you're going to maintain. Oh, yes, because where else are you going to find? Where else are you going to have a high amount of men who are going to be willing to do what you're asking? Especially in a hookup culture, you're not going to meet any husbands, and then husbands ain't going to wait 2 years. Why do you need to wait 1 to 2 years?
I mean, in my head that sounds right, but I think in my heart there isn't no set rule when it comes to love, when it comes to finding a partner and someone to build with, you know?
Well, first off, you're not looking to find. That's where you really just fell apart. Christian feminists. Partner ain't got nothing to do with Christianity. Love, what love got to do with it? We didn't fall in love before we got married. We got married and we got used to one another because we didn't date prior to the 40s and the rise of the Beers Company and Hallmark and all this other stuff. Your great grandparents jumped brooms. There was no 1 to 2 year dating. Lastly, building, there's another modern woman fantasy. So I think that I know many women are in church, are of faith, who are not living that life.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
you're in the dating market. You're in the dating market and you're 25 and you're only going to get older. And I'm going to tell you that a man waiting 1 to 2 years, I don't see that happening. And the reason I don't have conversations like this, ma'am, is because most people don't do this.
True.
And the reason you're doing it is your personal beliefs, but do you want to be a Christian? Do you want to have a Christian marriage? Christian hierarchy?
Um,
Huh.
I think,
Funny how that pause happened.
yeah,
Hmm.
I wouldn't frame it as a hierarchy. I think
Oh, here's a
there's a
hierarchy, just like
beautiful
the Holy
thing.
Spirit. Father, Son, Holy Ghost. There is a hierarchy. What's the vertical relationship?
Absolutely. But what I was saying is
The vertical relationship
when we
implies
look at the,
hierarchy. Does it not?
yes.
Okay.
But what I wanted to that specific word where the whole hierarchy is stemming from is submission. And when we look at the Aramaic or the Hebrew version, it's more of a teammate, a coach, and a player. And there's something really beautiful about that.
Mm-hmm.
And so I would say that's what I would want. It isn't just
Eve wasn't Adam's teammate. See,
you don't think so?
you
They
should go
didn't
back
work
and
in
look
the
at all the
garden
videos
together?
I did on. You can go back and look at all the videos I did on Christian feminism. Then I have videos where I'm talking to women who are born again virgins or holding on. Ma'am, I've talked to you. I lived in Dallas where the potter's on. And my point is, you talked about the doctrine is not sound. This isn't sound.
I mean,
This is basically
I
you
studied.
making up what you want to.
No. I go into seminary. I continue to study,
Okay,
and
well,
I'm reading both the old text as well as the translated English text.
okay, but in order to, but do you
Just
want
talking
your,
to
but your
college.
husband has to still be a believer.
Yes.
Okay, then where are you interacting with these men?
There's a group called the Sexless Tribe, and so I've talked to some guys on there, And then
It's an
indifference,
online
black
group.
person, singles groups. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And you're